I had, the LDS Church issued a statement sort of critiquing the show and critiquing me, which I appreciate, and I understand why members of the Mormon community would be offended by the portrayal of Brigham Young and the Mountain Meadows Massacre, which was the event that we used as kind of our inciting incident for the first episode, which was a real massacre that the Mormons committed on a group of pioneers who were heading out west, or a Mormon militia with some Paiute Indians attacked and murdered about 140 men, women, and children. And we present that in the film, and we present Brigham Young in the film. And many Mormons, it's interesting to start reading all the debate about it, but a lot of Mormons were saying, yeah, this is exactly what happened, and this is a part of our history. And there were other Mormons, particularly the seniors in Salt Lake City, were saying, this is not what happened, this is not fair. But what I find interesting about the Mormon church and about kind of how we present it is I've had a lot of people come to me and go, dude, I never knew the Mormons were such savages.
So gangster.
They were fucking gangster. Brigham Young was, in my opinion, a gangster, a survivor, a warrior. And for anyone who follows Mormon history, they started in upstate New York with this young kid, Joseph Smith, who found these tablets and basically rewrote the Bible and started getting this following. And then they moved to Missouri and they got popular. And then there was an extermination order, and it was kill all the Mormons. So they fled to Illinois and tried to survive up there at this place called Nauvoo that was going to be their peaceful place to live. And Joseph Smith was murdered, and they were run out of Illinois. And Brigham Young led these dudes, men and women, on foot across the plains in the winter to Salt Lake Valley, which was this desolate wasteland. And he said, oh, we'll stay here. They'll never come for us here. And they started coming. And Brigham Young basically said, fuck it. We're not taking it anymore. He built his own army, the Nauvoo Legion, and he said, we're staying here. We won't mess with you, but if you come after us, we will fight. And that point, I think, is interesting. And I think Brigham Young, who survived longer than all of them, and if you go to Salt Lake City, he did a pretty good job, right? Like, yeah. That's a big city, man. And
it's a great city.
And I don't know. I respect the Mormon religion. I respect Brigham Young, and I feel like we make him look like a gangster in American Primeval, and I respect that.
Well, this is the reality of historical figures. You're talking about a different time in the world, and it was a particularly barbaric time. And if you wanted to survive, this is what you had to do. And we're not talking about the United States in 2025. We're talking about the Wild West, and you're talking about a persecuted group of religious people. Like, if you want to survive, you want your children to survive,
you gotta fight.
You gotta take up arms. That's just how it is. Like, the story about the Mormons in Mexico, right?
Remind me.
Well, there's Mormon sects in Mexico that moved there when they made polygamy illegal.
Yeah.
And this was a homeboy from Massachusetts, Mitt Romney. His family is from Mexico. His father was born in Mexico. And his father could never be president because he wasn't born in America. And he was born here in America, ran for president, the whole deal, became governor of Massachusetts. But there's still these huge groups in Mexico that are armed to the fucking tits because they're always constantly battling with the cartel. And there was a series of murders a few years back where a woman and children, like family, were slaughtered. And it was some confusion as to whether or not the cartel targeted them or whether it was a case of mistaken identity or what happened. But, there's been documentaries about them. They live in armed compounds.
The Mormons.
In Mexico.
Yeah. Well, that